Wouldn't it be cool if you could have Ed Lawrence, Cole Hastings, and Charlie Morgan as regular YouTube advisors? So then when you had a video idea, you could say, hey guys, do you think this would be any good? And then they would tell you, well, maybe, but you should probably tweak this, this, and this. Well, guess what? You can. And that's exactly what I've done. In this video, I'm going to share with you my secret AI YouTube advisor that I created and share with you the process I'm going to be going through to go from 150 subscribers to 100,000 subscribers and 1,000 true fans. So I'm not necessarily starting from scratch. I have a second channel and I've created over 480 videos and I've learned a ton. But I've gotten to a certain point and I'd like to get to the next level. And I believe that my AI advisor is going to do a lot to get me there, but it's not the only thing I'm using. I've also put together a collection of other tools, mini challenges, and other frameworks that I'm going to be using alongside a small but ever-growing school community. So you can join that by going to the QR code here, or you can just subscribe to this channel where you'll see all of what I'm doing to basically get to 100,000 subscribers and 1,000 true fans. So I want to make clear right off the outset on what I'm not doing. And for that, I want to show you a clip from Ed Lawrence himself.
Earlier this year, I spotted another creator in my niche who you might watch with a video title almost identical to one of my own. So I clicked on it and straight away I thought, do you know what, that sounds like me. And then I realized, wait, that is actually my intro with a few words changed. And then as I kept watching, I saw them using my examples, my research, insights I've picked up from half a decade were in their video, just rephrased ever so slightly. And then I went on their community wall and I found loads of my own community wall posts just run through and lightly changed. Parts of their channel were basically 80% me and 20% machine. And you could basically see my fingerprints were everywhere. And that's when it hit me. If I can see the fingerprints and we share a very similar viewership, sooner or later the viewers are going to too. And when that happens, their credibility is going to vanish because you can spend years building trust, but wreck it in a single day.
So what I'm not going to be doing is trying to copy or beat Ed Lawrence or any of these other YouTubers. I'm going to be leaning into my own personality and my own personal branding, if you will. What I am going to be doing is using the different frameworks and ideas that they've come up with. But everything is built upon everything else, meaning they didn't just do it by themselves. They had other creators that they looked at. They had all this work that went into doing that. And they've kind of reframed it in their own way. But everything is a remix. And when you realize that, you go, okay, that's all right. And that gives you permission, in a way, to basically steal like an artist. That means you're not trying to be them. You're getting inspired by them and Peter McKinnon and all these other great YouTubers that are really doing some amazing videos. But then you're making it your own. And so I just want to be clear on that point. So at this point with AI, we're at a red pill, blue pill point in our adoption of what it does for us.
Long-term ChatGPT users then tried to write without AI in session 4 of the study. They performed worse than people who had never used AI before. And you know everybody's going to continue to use ChatGPT because history tells us that humans choose the path of least resistance. And ultimately, I think our brains are going to atrophy. If you don't use it, you lose it. It applies to going to the gym. If I don't use my muscles, guess what? They atrophy and I lose my muscles. And I think the same applies here. This is such a crazy thing to say because nobody's saying this. I'm predicting one of the great bets to make against AI at this exact moment is to use AI less for thinking. Choosing hard is going to be resisting the temptation to let ChatGPT think for you all the time in every interaction and every piece of work. Are you going to think for yourself, or is this the moment where you stop thinking entirely?
Okay, so that clip is pretty clear. The more you use AI to just create content, the more it takes away from your creative muscle. Now, this gives you the red pill, blue pill moment. You can go down this road and you can have AI create all the content for you, or you go down this road and you basically use AI to help you along the way. And you can actually learn to be clearer. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have a paragraph and you take it and you put it into AI and it spits out a clear version. You can then take that clear version, rewrite it. You're then learning how to create more clearly, okay? And then you've used AI in a way that actually helps you be more clear, but also keeps your creative muscle. And you can do that with frameworks. You can do that with a lot of different things with AI. So AI becomes an advisor not a creator. Now I'm going to give you a rough outline of how this would work. But the overarching idea is you enter a title, a rough idea, and your audience. So the first thing I'm doing is just putting in my video idea. I just want to basically see if this is going to be a good idea. And it's going to ask me some questions, and it's going to give me a green light, needs work, or no audience alignment. So I need to know about my audience. Now you could use this to figure out your audience or help you figure out your audience. We're just going to go with a basic audience input. So we put in our idea, run a green light checklist, we'll score it. All right, so we have a total score, green light, solid idea. But we could use some work. So the hook doesn't tease a transformation. So it's gonna basically help me make this a little bit better. And let's see what it does, right? Title and hook. Okay, I'm asking it to ask me questions because I don't want it to just write something for me. I wanna be in the creative process, so I retain my creative muscle, so to speak. But you could just have it write it. What setup are you focusing on? What's the biggest fear, frustration, and what's the outcome? Now, these are great questions, right? They help me think about it a little more succinctly and focus my idea a little more effectively, right? That's the core of what this tool is about, is really getting you to focus a little bit. So the advisor guides you with questions, clarifies the avatar, backstory, pitch, and the hook, right? It then cross-checks with patterns from Ed, Charlie, and Cole. It returns feedback, green light, yellow light, or red light, with reasons. And then optionally, it'll turn the outline into a scene-by-scene plan. So that's where it becomes much easier, to just go with some scenes. It'll ask you some questions to develop these scenes. Now, obviously, as you can tell, I like being kind of mobile, walking around and talking, right? So I like to have a set idea in a particular scene. And then it's much easier when I'm busy or when I'm doing things, traveling or whatever. I can just go, do that scene, and then keep on going, knowing that by the time I'm done, all those scenes are aligned and make sense. And in that way, it reduces my editing quite a bit. It doesn't always work, as planned. But scenes are a nice way to really get an idea of what you're saying and the visuals you're probably going to have in that scene. And when you break it down this way, it's much easier to create. It actually reduces the cognitive load on you in creating the whole video in one go. You're just creating these particular scenes, and then you're combining them all together. Okay, next, another thing I want to make clear is I'm here to put together amazing people, their frameworks. I'm putting together some mini challenges. Really,
You suddenly said, I've been thinking about a podcast. I would say, get off your ass and start the podcast tomorrow. And it fails. You have learned so many things. You've learned more in those 3 months of failure than you have been 2 years thinking or 5 years of getting an MBA from some school and putting yourself in massive debt. Learn by doing, learn by failing.
Really, it's all designed around curating all this together so that we create towards greatness. I don't know about following any one guru. In college, professors would have a lot of different resources. They would pull from all those, and they would have you read all kinds of different books, and they would guide you through them. That's a true teacher. They're not the only ones teaching you, right? And so that's basically what I'm doing. I'm putting together all these different resources, all these different ideas, and curating them together in the way that I'm seeing leads to your own infinite game, where you have your own success markers, and you're not working for money, you're working for the results that's behind all that. And in the end, I believe we all lift each other up to greatness. And so that's what I'm designing all this for. And I hope you join me in the school. But even if you don't, subscribe and follow along here to 100,000 subscribers and 1,000 true fans.